Nupss and a bro fist to you all, and I have been bullied. Bullied. I'm enjoying playing Final Fantasy 15 so much that I've just been doing side content for like hours and hours and hours, and the harassment I have received from like, when MSQ, it's so FF14, it's unbelievable. It's like, when MSQ, and I'm like, well, yeah, but this hunt needs doing. Yeah, but this guy needs his pictures, man. This guy needs this. We need the supercharger for the car. Obviously, we need the chocobo still not leveled yet. All these kind of things have been sucking it up. So I am always going to do what I want to do. But I am aware, often, particularly in RPGs, is that you probably are missing out on some major function of the game if you don't continue with the MSQ. And I'm always of the mindset, and I don't know why, because I'm often proved wrong, but it is the way I am, is that I can do everything I want to do right now. So I'm going to do that, even though part of me kind of realizes that if I'd have just done the MSQ for another hour, maybe I would have unlocked Goliath weapons, like Ramu, right? And he would have cleaned up these fights way, way quicker. It'd be way more efficient to do that. But I'm not a big fan of playing like the main story of any RPG and then coming back and sort of cleaning up. I'm never a big fan of that. I like to just deal with what's going on at the time. I like to deal with the things that are going on around me. So I started the day doing a lot of side content. However, good for the audience, good for you, is that a lot of the side content that I was due to do and was in my log wasn't that great. Hunts keep coming, and I've unlocked rank 4 hunts now. But their levels are like 20 and 30 levels above me. So it's clearly pointing out, like, you really shouldn't be doing this now. You should be doing other things. Part of me is determined to get to the Final Fantasy 14 quest. But the side content, one, I wanted the supercharger for the car, but that area is locked off. So I was like, okay, well, I can't go there. I'm actually story blocked there. And the other stuff isn't that great, and I'm not sure what it rewards for doing it, because that is a factor of what I'm doing here. So I had like Viv, the photographer, who just wants me to drive around and take pictures of things, and then he just gives me a bunch of money, and I'm like, well, I don't really care about Prompto's photography skills going up. Like, he keeps unlocking like filters and bloom and things like this to make really wonderful photographs of the in-game cutscenes, and like, that's not me. So I was like, okay, I can put that to the side for now. And similar with Dave and his dog tags, you just find dog tags around, and sometimes he tells me that the guy's still alive. He just lost his dog tag. So I'm like, wait, am I lost and found guy here? What's going on? So I actually got to the point where my log was like full of hunts and weapon upgrade stuff, and I was like, okay, the game, it's time for the MSQ. We're going on a boat, because that's what the story kept pointing to. We're going on a boat, we're going across the seas. Arden had told me, he's like, the next time we meet, it will be across the waves. And I was like, ooh, that's kind of sick. That's kind of awesome. So I was like, right, we're doing it. We're going. And then the game stopped me doing it. Because I finally got in the car with Iris, and the car was like, okay, we're going up north now. We've released the blockade. Arden was there. He's like, released the blockade. I'm like, oh, this is where the supercharger is. Cool. So we actually got through that blockade. I was like, well, we're here now. So obviously I'm going to do the side content. And people were like, Jesus Christ, how is this happening? I'm like, well, we're here. I've got to get the car supercharger. And then there's this road, right, that just seems to go nowhere. And in this game, unlike 16... there's always something there. And there was another Royal Arms dungeon. So I was like, well, we're going to do the dungeon. Obviously, that's what we're doing. So I did all those things, which was great. Super fun. Excited. Got the supercharger. I haven't turned it in yet, but I've got it. And then I continued on to the MSQ, which was really kind of awesome, because we were investigating a dungeon and we got a new character, because Gladio has left. This was really strange. I didn't know what was going on here, but Gladio just turned to me, this is before we came to this area, and just said, hey, Nupss, I've got to go for a bit and deal with something. I was like, all right. And he's like, bye. Now, I was like, that's really sort of out of nowhere. But at the same time, it left a spot in the party, so I was like, we're probably going to get a new character. And we did, because it was very FF4 style. If you've not played FF4 yet, I really recommend it. It's not too long, and it's awesome. But they don't have on-the-fly party swapping like they do in, like, 6. What happens is somebody will leave for some reason, and then another person will slot in. So when you go down to 3, I'm like, okay, inevitably another character is going to join. And that character was Aranea, I think Ariana, which is Aranea. Ariana or Aranea. Both are absolutely beautiful names, by the way. I would name my daughter this. I think this is a lovely, lovely name. Who is working for the Empire. Kind of met her before in a... very briefly, we had a boss fight with her, which was terrible. The worst boss fight I've done so far in the game. In one of the compounds, one of their factories. But now she's joining the team under Arden's orders to watch over us as we investigate this temple. And I was like, okay... I don't trust you, obviously. Working for the Empire. But... Oh, you'll have to excuse me. I'm really ill right now. But cool. And there was a lot of banter, a lot of dialogue between them, where... By the end of the dungeon, where we fought Quetzal, which was a great return to... 10. A great return to 10. Quetzal was there as the final boss. Easy boss, because it's an MSQ boss and we're all over-leveled. But, like, ultimately, it was kind of fun to see that character return. I kind of was second-guessing myself. Is she a nice person? Because she kind of... She brings up, like, oh, I'm going to leave the Empire. You guys seem pretty cool. I'm a mercenary, really. I could leave the Empire's employ and just work for myself. And I'm like, that seems like you're trying to gain our trust in a really obvious way. But by the end of it, I was like, oh, maybe. Maybe she's actually a decent person. I really like this character. And I'm sure we're going to explore more with her. To see what's going on. But coming out of that, it was like, go across the waves. We're getting the boat again. I'm like, okay. Is there even another zone? We across the boat? Because every time we go to get this boat, something happens to stop us getting the boat. I was like, okay, we'll see what's going to happen with that. And then we had a very bizarre way of reintroducing Gladio, which was to, we had to melt the mithril that we were looking for in the temple in the power station. In the power station, Lestalem, I think is the town. Is under attack by demons, and you have to go in. They've sent a hunter in already, who is clearly Gladio, has the voice, but thankfully the game didn't try and do a, you're Gladio? Like, Noctis and Gladio knew that each other knew who they were, and we're having a bit of banter with it. I was so thankful for that, because it didn't repeat Black Flag, where there's a reveal in that game that is just so stupidly obvious, that it's bizarre that the character hasn't picked up on it. But either way, It was weird. It was just out of nowhere, go and kill some demons, and now everything's fine, and Gladio's back. I was like, okay, cool. But Gladio's now got scars all over his face. Now, this is what I know about this. This is tied to Gladio's own DLC. And apparently each character has their own DLC. And a lot of people were pointing out, is like, this was the most obnoxious nonsense when the game launched. And again, one of the reasons people have a very bad feeling about 15. Because I'm having a great time, but I have all the content. And I can imagine being in the same boat. It's like, wait, what's going on here? So we're not even going to ask. If I was not aware that this is a DLC that I already have and I can play through, and I'm going to do that next, I would be very annoyed as well. It's like, are we not even going to ask? Like, tell us why you're now, like, scarred on your face. Like, what the hell happened? Where were you? Like, these are the obvious questions you would ask, and it's kind of glossed over because they're going to release a DLC later. And I totally can understand the frustration players must have had at the time. I was like, wait, so this character just, one of our main characters just left and then just came back, and I would have thought, oh god, are you setting up like a DLC? Ugh. And that would have really put a dour tone on things, but I don't have that exactly. I can understand it completely because I can go and play it right now. So again, I understand why people have bad feelings about 15, although it's not affecting my playthrough now, so I'm bearing that in mind. Returning to then, we're going on a boat. They kept pulling over for photographs. Oh, it's like, you should check this area. Thankfully, because of my exploration, I checked most of the areas already. And I was like, no, we're going on the boat. We're going on the boat. They kept getting out the car. And I was like, no, get back in the car. We're going on the boat. Which is where we have gained a house. Seemingly that we can decorate with some models and things like that. And there's also a garden to grow vegetables in. The stupid cat returned and wants us to go fishing. That cat is going to starve to death as far as I'm concerned. I'm not going fishing again. All these things, all this extra stuff started to unlock. And I was like, you keep preventing me from doing the story now. I'm actually in the mood to do the story. And the game is constantly trying to stop me from doing it. The little kid wants me to go and pick up Captor statues all over the place from all the stores. I'm like, god damn it. I'm going on the boat. But, awkwardly... Awkwardly, I did for my hunts. I went up to like 56,000 gil. But buying all the food to unlock all the recipes for Ignis, because some of the food is so good. I actually spent over 7,000 gil alone on a meal in Lestalem that nullifies or does something to the level difference between you and other enemies. because I'm constantly coming up against level 50 plus enemies. And it's hard. Like, I killed Midgard Soma at level 20 something, and that boss is 52. I could do it through gameplay, but like, this is going to equalize that difference. So I was like, well, I want that recipe, so I'm going to spend 7,000 gil. So I ended up with 100 gil, I think, or 200 gil by the time I got to the house. And I'm poor. I literally have nothing left. I have barely scraps in my pocket as we're about to take the boat. So Sid rocks up, and so does Cindy, and they've built us a massive, massive royal yacht, which is so ridiculous. I was thinking as we were going across this, isn't this a bit much for just going across? Yes, there'll be ferries and things, and with the prince, but so far, the Empire hasn't really cared, and in fact has captured us or had us in custody. Arden certainly has several times, and they don't really care. So surely we could just go on the ferry or something, but no, Sid has built us this enormous, elaborate yacht to sail across the ocean. But I have to say this, it was absolutely beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. It was a good, probably 7-minute cutscene of going across the oceans, which you could skip, so I will say that. But it was fun. There was good talk between the characters. There was a bit of a story catch-up as to what's going on and what's going to happen. Luna Freya's here. We're going to finally see our bride-to-be. All these kind of things were setting us up for this arrival in the town. I forget the name of the town right now, but I will say this. I forget the name of the town. I will not forget the introduction to this city. It is phenomenal. It's entirely impractical, and we do know that Leviathan is here, and there's some sort of ceremony to wake Leviathan, but goddamn is it extraordinary. Completely impractical. It's based on Venice, I believe, in some loose respect. It's built of waterfalls, but God, it's gorgeous. It's so cool. I was like, wow. There's so much effort gone to this city. It's crazy. And I was surprised that when we first arrived that there wasn't much there. I was like, they've built this enormous, elaborate, detailed city, but it doesn't seem to be much here. You have to take gondolas around and things like that. And the big quest was to see Luna Freya's wedding dress. Okay. I'm married. I'm married. I didn't go to this much. I want to see the dress on the day. Because, you know, with my wife in it, and I trust her judgment, but like, when all the boys are going to go see the wedding dress, and the whole city's in buzz. And then we saw it, and it was supported by Vivienne Westwood, which was really odd. But still, there's the wedding dress. I was like, okay, it's a wedding dress. And maybe I was like being overly male about this. Well, I was like, I don't get it. It's a wedding dress. And I don't get wedding shopping either. I've done it with friends. I have been at bridal things when Emma's asked me to go to give opinions on what the other lady's future husband would think. And I'm like, you all look beautiful in wedding dresses. That's the point. I don't know what you want me to say. So I do have a very male nature about these things. But it was then the case of discovering, after we did the initial things and meeting with like the senator of the area, that the whole town opened up into a new zone. I was like, oh my God, this has opened up into a whole new thing. Like, I thought the world map was essentially the first thing. It's not. There's this area as well. It's definitely less dense, or at least it seems it right now, but it's got its own hunts, it's got its own recipes, it's got its own content there. So I decided to, like, okay, we're going to have to forestall the MSQ again. Sorry. We're going to have to hold, because there's a lot to do here, and I want to investigate the city. I want to see what else they've got going on. So I picked up some hunts and started exploring, and I was like, we need to make some money, because Sid charged us the toll to get through and reduced us to literally 0 gil. Literally 0. So I sold what I could get away with to start getting some money up. I was like, we need to do some hunts to earn some cash so we can actually take some of the stuff from here. Because my gut feeling is if Leviathan's waking up, although I don't think they close off activities, or they might do, FF does do that, I feel like the city's going to get destroyed. It's too beautiful. And it kind of reminds me of Fight Club when they destroy Jared Leto's face. He's like, I just wanted to destroy something beautiful. I feel that vibe here. It's like, they're going to wreck this. Leviathan's going to trash this place. I totally feel it coming. So I was like doing some hunts and exploring the city. And I found an arena with what looked like Vuvuzelas to do something with. But that's when I had to stop because it had been a long day. And I wasn't ready. I had my Nomerigan raid, Nomerigan, whatever you want to call it, in Season of Discovery to do. So I was like, okay, I need to stop now. Otherwise, we're going to be here for an hour checking out what this arena is and totally sidetracked for all time. But I definitely want to check it out like for my next play session. So that's where we're up to. I feel like this is going to get destroyed. I still haven't met Luna Freya. I have started calling her Lady Plainface because she's got a Canisena vibe, for those of you who played FF14, where she just looks so dull. Everything she does is really boring. And I'm like, okay, Lady Plainface is here. Her mystical spirit guide, I'm going to call her Genichiro, that keeps showing up. She's kind of interesting with her loveless poetry. Arden's kind of interesting, but Lady Plainface, nah, I don't really care about. So we'll see where we go. But that's where we're up to. Still enjoying the hell out of it. So much fun, and I can't, honestly, at this point, I can't wait to go back to start clearing up the rest of the stuff that I found while I was trying to push through to the MSQ, because it just keeps going, well, have you heard of this? And now there's an arena that you can fight in as well. There's this as well, and then now there's a whole new zone, and by the way, you've still not done your vegetable garden. I'm like, oh my god, okay, sure, we'll see where it goes. But that's where we're up to. Still great. Understand why people get frustrated, but I'm going to do Gladio's DLC next, so stay tuned for that. But ultimately, we got on a boat. Bye, guys.